Patreon. My arms look huge. Mark Gothberg asked, modern day Minuteman pointers. I like to point with this, and I would recommend that you do the same. The end. Just kidding. I'll tell you where I see some of the biggest issues with modern day Minuteman movement. Not that I have anything philosophically or theoretically against the modern day Minuteman movement. That's a mouthful. The modern day Minuteman movement.com. A. There's no resupply. Most people in the modern day Minuteman movement, we're just going to say Minuteman from now on. Most of these Minutemen, everybody wants to be a shooter. Like, I've just, for example, Texas State Militia. You know, they, and rightfully so, like the Marine Corps, a rifleman first, and then whatever, logistics or, you know, motor pool or whatever, okay? But, like the TSM, Texas State Militia, and a lot of these other Minuteman organizations take that way too far, because there's some guys, you know, you got a guy that's 56 years old with a bad heart carrying around 70 pounds of gear in Texas on an FTX in, you know, August. Guess what? Gonna die. That's dumb, right? So the militia or the Minuteman movement conducts itself as if many a time they are the military. Guess what? It's like 9 to 11 pairs of boots in support roles for each pair of boots on the ground. The pointy end of the spear, there's a whole handle behind that pointy end, man, that gets it spun up and moving and gets it from where it gets the pointy end from where it is to where it needs to be, and make sure they have all the things that they need to do their job. And that is so freaking ignored by modern patriots, to their detriment. There's no resupply. I mean, you look at these guys, and good for them. They see government tyranny at hand, and they grab their kits, and they get there on their Facebook Messenger, and we're going to go over here, and we're not going to let the government take land from these ranchers. Awesome. 3 days later, half of them got no food. They've got nothing to sleep in. They're out of money. They've got their equipment's falling apart. Blah, 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 because there's no resupply. Now, this is foundational to this channel. We've talked about this many a time here at this channel. There is no resupply. You are your own resupply. If you have not taken strides now to have, okay, I've got my 72-hour kit. Okay, good. What happens after 72 hours? Well, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. That could probably look like you shivering and freezing to death inside of a wet wool blanket. Or having no food. Or you go 3 weeks without food. You can't go 3 weeks in combat without food, homeboy. And believe me, by the end of the first week, you're not going to be happy. And you're certainly not going to be performing at optimal levels. So there's no resupply except for what you set aside for yourself. Meaning that whether it's blue totes or Pelican cases or foot lockers or whatever, you need to fill them up. This is our resupply. And then you need to have somebody within your movement. Now you have your individual resupply. This brown tote, because brown is tactical. This is my 7-day resupply. And in it there's MREs and Mountain House gear and changes of clothes and sanitation and backup ammunition and a more comprehensive sleep kit and blah, 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 blah. Boom. Okay, that's Tim's kit, and here's Joe's kit, and here's Bob's kit, and here's Sally's kit. Okay, good. Good. Do that now, right? This is going to be comparable to what I would call a capabilities kit. In other lines of work, You could pre-position such a thing somewhere for somebody at such a time that it might be needed, that there exists within this kit all the capabilities that they would need to accomplish the mission. Okay? Okay. Now, there's no resupply. Please understand that. Like, that's the biggest problem with the modern Minuteman is like, I'm just going to grab my plate carrier and my rifle and we're going to go to war. For a day or two. And then what? Well, we'll figure it out. Okay, cool. Bring a shovel because we're going to need a place to bury all of these bodies. Okay? For real. I mean, for real, for real. With as much gravity as I can muster, people don't get this. No logistics, no resupply, and no thought toward it. That's how I think most of these Minutemen are gonna die. Okay, next. Most of these guys that I've run into derive their self-worth based upon how much their equipment cost. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. He says sitting next to his Gadsden flag. Okay, so I've had some experience with these types. I've run some crews full of these types. Well, this is the Cry Precision Multicam Super Operator Cut Plate Carrier. It's been weatherproofed using the tears of unicorns. It was $800 for this plate carrier. It's like, that's cool. That one was $70. 70? What's that, Condor? Condor's airsoft gear. It's like, is it? It's got more miles on it than you do, bro. So forth and so on. Like, well, this is, you see, this is my Daniel Defense $1,800 rifle. Nothing against Daniel Defense. It's a good rifle. You don't need an $1,800 rifle, though. Right? And it's got the ACOG on it, and it's got this thing, and this and a PEC 15. And these are my nods. You know, these are the PVS 14s. They only set me back about $12,000. And it's like, cool. Yeah, you know, a bright light can counteract that. So forth and so on, right? And so there's a lot of guys that want to play soldier part-time, and you see this constantly in all facets of preparedness. They want to offset their lack of capability through gear. That's huge, man. I would rather have a crew of people that with, you know, SKSs can hit a paper plate at 100 yards every time. Every single time they squeeze the trigger, than a group of guys with their, you know, battle-proven AK-47 variant. This is my RAS 14 or whatever they call it, RAS 47 and blah, 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 blah. And it's got this thing and this thing. And you know you're cool. You know you're cool when you do this, right? You lock in the magazine and then you come over the side and bang, 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 back on target. Like, I look awesome. But they can't hit anything, right? They got 10 shots-ish, maybe, out of a 30-round magazine into a paper plate at 50 yards. No, thank you. No, thank you. Not interested, right? So, and then you get a lot of these comments like, well, it's because I haven't done the trigger yet. It's like, no, you can't shoot. Your fundamentals suck. That's it. There's no advanced shooting. Let me break the internet for you again. There is no advanced shooting. There's just basic shooting performed quickly and efficiently. That's it. That's all there is to it. There's no advanced way for me to hold this gun right now and talk in my operator voice and make sure that everybody in this room is dead. There's not. All there is I can quickly and efficiently perform the basic foundational skills necessary to find my target, find the front sight, squeeze the trigger, assess, find, and repeat. That's it. Now, the faster I can do that, the more likely I am to win the engagement. But there's no, like, magical pixie dust and I don't know, man. You can't cover up a lack of competency with multicam. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. You can't cover up a lack of competency with multicam. And I see that constantly with the modern day Minuteman movement. And the vast majority of these guys and a few girls I run into, they mean well. They have the best of intentions. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions, man. Like, it's training. It's competency. It's logistics, of which there is none. And the last thing I'll say on the subject, what comes to mind right now, and I've realized that what you were probably looking for is, or I'm assuming what you're probably looking for is, I run this many magazines and I have them loaded this way because when I'm doing this thing, then I can get this magazine, I can go here and I can blah, blah, blah. And then my dump pouch is here. And then I have a policy of after a firefight, what I like to do is establish security. And then I have each man go through one at a time and top off all of his magazines and move his empties to his pack. And so he's only got full magazines on his, or something like that is what I imagine you were looking for. The last thing we need to talk about for real is that most people who associate with these types of groups, you know, the militia, Minuteman, 3%ers, blah, blah, blah. How are you going to get called up? By who? When? What's your chain of command look like? How dedicated to that chain of command are you? Do you actually have a group? Do you? Or you just have some guys that you hang out with one weekend a month? Is that the extent of your group? If that's the extent of your group, and I'll be dead honest with you, let's say we are in a group like that, and the only context we have is that group, when the balloon goes up and things get sideways, I'm not coming for you. And I don't expect you to come for me. No, we're just playing Rambo and G.I. Joe one weekend a month. These are my brothers and I will die for them. No, they're not, and no, you won't. There, I said it. Not based upon what I've seen. These are the guys you hang out with and shoot guns with. That's what I've seen. Now, can it be more than that? Absolutely. Is it? Rarely. I know of a couple of instances where it is more than that. But it's certainly the exception to the rule, not the rule itself. Oh, and the last thing I'll say, this will be the bow we tie in this conversation. Rife with informants and embedded personnel. Chock full. You're worried about OPSEC and COMSEC, but you're part of the Texas State Militia or whatever. Gosh. I worry less about OPSEC now than perhaps ever, or I worry about it in a different direction. My biggest concern really are the crazies trying to come on property uninvited and me having to employ those basic weapon skills quickly and accurately. Everything I think and feel and believe and am convicted to believe is out on the internet. That's out there. I'm a known quantity, man. And we've had people try and engage us. You're worried about COMSEC and OPSEC, and you're out there playing Soldier Boy with all your buddies. You better be extremely careful what you say and who you say it to. That's my take on the modern minute day movement. Man, you can find out how to set up a sling or plate carrier, or what the appropriate zero for your rifle is, or should I shoot 62 grain or 55 grain, or what kind of radios do you use, or how, what is your blowout kit set up like, or what is your loadout look? You can find that anywhere, including on our YouTube channel. I don't think you'll find anywhere else what I just said to you. Make sure you actually have a group of people. Make sure that in that group of people, you guys actually trust each other, that you would die for each other. I have had conversations with brothers, looking dead in the eye, and I said, here's what happens when I die. And some of you guys who have been places and done things will have had these same conversations with your units, your teams, your brothers in arms. Here's what happens when I die. Y'all are going to take care of my family. I have this, this, and this, and it's here, here, and here. And use it for this. And there's money stashed here, and this, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And they say the same thing to me. When I go, if I go, I want you to take care of my family, and we have this, this, and we have that talk now. Families aren't involved in that talk. They don't know. They don't need to know. I've never had one of those conversations with one of these militia guys, with somebody who openly espouses Minuteman theory. I'm not against the Minuteman theory either. What I'm against is the mindset that so many individuals have when they come to it. I don't trust anybody who's eager for war, especially eager for war with the United States government. That's stupidity. I am not eager. But don't back me into a damn corner either. Shalom, Brother Mark.